a traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
We are recording. What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in Zoltan. We are You wouldn't know this because this comes out a week later, and whatever time this goes live, I am not conscious normally, unless there's a horrible show I got to get up for. This is my first sip of coffee for the day. It's actually not true. I had a coffee in the morning, didn't I? Didn't I make one at home?
I think so.
Yeah, it did nothing. Cheers.
My first sip as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Just warm, just cooled down enough.
Oh, we're all going to have to hit pause and take a mud break here in a second.
I just got that.
I gotta call you ever see new houses that got the mud room? I'm like, that's a fancy bathroom for I'm concerned. What is mud room?
I feel like that's a scene that they could have added into Borat. They're like, this is the mud room, and he just like squats and he just starts defecating. And they're like, what? You said mud. That's a horrible Borat impression.
Borat, the Vampire Diaries.
From Uzbekistan, we have vampire. Smoke cigarette with child.
That was good.
That was all right.
Was
we almost
good.
got there.
Your Hungarian coming out.
I warm up.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. I think that's the theme. I don't do well in the beginning. I warm up. That's how I would grade my sets from last night.
So would the crowds. But
Dude, so would the crowds. Some people are like so good, like right from the beginning. They're so snappy. Like, I know I've talked about this before on the podcast of how I don't know how to start these shorter city sets, like 15-minute set is the traditional set, I guess. But, like, I don't know how to start, and I do so much better when I'm, like, doing an hour, because I'll just, like, I don't know. It's different. Those people came to see me.
well, because if you blow the first 2 minutes,
They're
who
fine.
cares? They're never gonna know. But 2 minutes is 40% of your set sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was in the shower, and I think I came up with a line this morning where I'm going to start, because I was watching old 80s comedy. I was watching, like, Dangerfields. And I watched Jeff Foxworthy set on Dangerfields on the subway ride home. I'm like, I need to look at the legends. How the hell do they do these sets? Because if you look at old Dangerfield, like fresh comic sets or whatever, those crowds were horrible. They were hammered. They were in like a banquet room of like a Hilton, it looked like. And people were hooting and hollering. And I heard, you know how as a comic you can tell that the crowd's rowdy based on what the comic says without trying to blow their set and have a snap. You know, they just go, I'm not going to even ask who's married here. And then even with that, like single people were
Start reaching for a guitar.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
But I watched Jeff Foxworthy, and he went on stage. He's like, hello, my name is Jeff Foxworthy. I am from the South. And I'm like, what a great way to start.
Yeah.
I already know your name, who you are, and probably what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And I was like, I came up with, hi, my name is Zoltan Kaszas. I live here in New York City, and I am not good at it. And that's what I came up with. And then maybe I'll talk about how I'm, in the way or whatever. And then I can go do the stuff I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because all this willy-nilly of going up there, like last night I went up, I did Good Eggs, Mark Norman's show at the new New York Comedy Club. Upper West Side, which is so far away from where I live and where my next spot was.
Yeah.
And I went up there, and everyone just slayed immediately. And then I went up, and everyone looked like the Joe Rogan effect. Because Mark Norman does he's in what they call the Rogan sphere, which I always thought was just a play on words on his head because his head's so big, but it's not. It's about the comics that are on a show, and it felt bro-y in there. And then so I called that out. I'm like, everyone looks like a UFC fighter in here, and they chuckled at that. And then I lost him. And
I'm Zoltan. I'm from New York. You just started saying, my name's Jeff Foxworth. Fuck. Damn it. Screwed that one up.
So yeah, it was one of those. Because I had my first, I'll get into this right away. Let's talk about the failure. We'll get to the Safe Journal. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
You got green on. You're ready to rock. Safe Journal. Let's do it right now.
That's what I like to hear.
Hey, are you muttering like a psychopath at your two friends, one of them being your wife, because you don't write down your feelings? That's probably the issue. That's probably the issue. You don't check in with yourself. How do you know how you're feeling until you check in with yourself? Well, there's a couple ways to do it. One, you can talk at people like I'm doing right now, and they can give you a little feedback going, some of this might be you. Or you can take a few moments to yourself, whip out your safe journal, safejournal.co, and start writing down your feelings, reading them, reflecting about them, seeing what you're going to do next. That's what this little book right here will do for you. And let me tell you, they are flying off the shelves. Flying off the shelves. Right now, for a limited time, you can, it's not limited, but just do it. You enter the code TWIZ, you get 20% off. 25? What is it? You get a discount. I forgot. The coffee has not kicked in. It is 10 in the morning. Usually Emma and I don't wake up for another hour. We're on Charles Bukowski hours, and this is early for me and the lady. So you type in TWIZ at checkout, you get a discount, either 20 or 25%. I'm sure Mark will add in a little graphic underneath. Thank you, Mark, for all your work. And you get a handwritten note by me also to be included in that. And that's what you get. Safe Journal, safejournal.co. Let's get into it. I had my first audition at the Cellar. Oh. And I say first because hopefully we get a second swing at it.
Hey, from what I understand, see you in 10 years, buddy.
See you in 10 years. Dude, it's amazing how intimidating a situation can be. I've been doing comedy 18 years, and I was on stage, and in the first 30 seconds, I just remember yelling at myself going, what are you doing? Like, I feel like my first 30 seconds, I had a stroke on stage. I don't remember what I said. I just started talking. Yeah. I just started nervously talking, and then my brain's like, what the hell are you doing? And my mouth's like, I'm trying. I don't know. And then it's a 5-minute set. And it was like you were saying before, like the first 30 seconds, it was so important and it went so bad. But then I started to build from there. So I ended up having a fine set, but definitely not a welcome to the Comedy Cellar set.
Definitely not a hand on the back, welcome to the table.
No, it was a thank you.
We'll call you.
Yeah. And it's so and you know what I wish? I wish I was set up for failure. I wish. Do you know?
If there was only somebody to blame.
Yes! If I could only blame the setup. Oh, they put me in a bad slot. There was no people. Everyone bombed. Dude, Friday, 7 o'clock show. They put me up third. They sold out. Everyone does great. People are cheering. Everyone was nice. Jim Norton wished me luck as I'm walking on stage. And I'm like, you're Jim Norton. He's like, good luck, man. And I was like, that's so kind. He doesn't have to do that. I know you don't know who Jim Norton is, but in our world, comedy legend. Yeah. And he said, good luck. He doesn't have to do that. He's amazing.
He's Jim Norton for crying out loud.
Yeah, he's Jim Norton for God's sakes. And I go up there. And if you don't know, the lady in charge of the Comedy Cellar is named Esty. Is I don't know is she Mexican? Hispanic of some sort?
I think she's something in the Hungarian range.
She's one of me?
I think she's Eastern European.
You're kidding.
I think.
You're kidding. That hurts more now. Anyway, race be, set aside. She's some sort of something, and she's so sweet. I wish she was mean to me. I wish she was intimidating to me. She couldn't have been kinder. She's older. She was like a little grandmother coming in. Welcome, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. We're going to put you up third. I'm going to have Mike, this guy Mike who is hosting. He's going to show you the room. We'll make sure you see the light. They set me up for success, and then she watches from the seat right from the doorway to the hallway. So I'm on stage, and I just see this silhouette of this elderly lady, just this silhouette of this grandmother watching, and my brain's like, you're on your own. And I just started talking. I was so nervous. I remember before I went on stage, I'm in the hallway looking at all these headshots. Bill Burr, Louis C.K., all these signed old headshots.
Yeah.
Louis had hair. Everyone had hair, I guess was the difference. And looked young, and they were like strapping, and they're wearing whatever stylish whenever the hell they took that headshot. And I'm like, this is my time to shine. This is it, buddy. How's it going to go? And faceplant. It was like those videos where you see like a little kid playing t-ball. And they set him up with the tee. And like they're not even going to pitch it to him. It's on the tee. And they give him the bat, and coach lines up his hips and his shoulders, and the whole crowd is chanting, Timmy, Timmy, Timmy. Like, and then he goes to swing. He misses the ball, and the bat whips around and hits himself in the head, and he does like a 360. And that's what that felt like.
Aw.
Because you feel like you're the last person that's going to audition. They're like, shut it down. You know what? We've seen enough. New York's over. She's Polish, by the way. Polish.
I
According to
would.
the
She has a
internet.
tan to her. She has a nice.
I feel like Polish people can tan. I mean, she lives here,
She vacations.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, the sun
Yeah.
capital of
the sun capital of New York City.
Polish.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that. If it wasn't Hispanic of some sort, I would have guessed like Mediterranean, like maybe Armenian or like one of the like Turkish, like that kind of realm.
It's like right there, though.
Other way, isn't it? On
I
a
also
map?
have to say I have no idea where anything is. So
I feel like it's like Hungary touches a little bit of Turkey, I think, if I'm remembering the map correctly. But Poland's like over the, I don't know, whatever. The point is, she was so kind, and I was set up for success, and I tripped over my nutsack and fell on my face.
oof, yeah, Poland's way up there. I am very dumb.
I'm from there, so I feel like I've looked at that map a lot. you
Poland
know?
is next to Germany.
Yeah.
Turkey is in the ocean. Turkey is in Saudi Arabia. Whoops. Mark, go ahead and edit this one out.
Turkey is the border country between the
Yes,
Middle East and
correct.
Europe. They are the border country.
you go.
There's no other way to say that. But anyway, and then poor Emma had to live in a household with me, stressing for a week leading up to this set.
Isn't that the worst?
And then being sad for a week after the set.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
What was that like? Like, just to be around? Because you're a sponge to what people are feeling around you.
Right. It was a lot of you saying, I'm okay. And then everything you did led to you're not okay.
Whoops.
Came back going, I'm fine. I remember I called you right after my set, and you're like, how did it go? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. That was my opening statement. I go, like, it kind of went well later, but not in the beginning, and I think it's a no. Because she also doesn't tell you. She just says thank you. And then I walk upstairs, and I don't know what to do. And she says thank you again. She said it twice. Jesus. I'm one
As
of
she's
those.
closing the door. Thank you. No, thank you.
As the server's returning my tip. Like, no, we don't
gonna need
keep the
this more
water.
than we do.
Yeah, we don't need the stink of you on this dollar bill. And so, yeah, it was just such a... And yeah, the more I said I'm fine, the more I realized I wasn't
You were
fine.
not fine, no.
No, because it's a reoccurring... I relate it to sports, because there's I don't know, I watch a lot of sports, and you think about, like, that's all right, Mike, what's playing on there?
Nothing.
What's going on over there?
I was trying to get my timer back up, and it just started playing music. I was like, whoa, that's not what I meant to do.
It's fine. I would have been happy if that happened during my set. I would have been like, hey, just, I don't even have a line for it. I would have gone, hey.
Maybe Esty was right.
Yeah, dude. She kind of is. Here's the thing. I'm not bottom of the ninth, full count, bases loaded. We need a grand slam to win. I'm not the guy you want at some people have ice water in their veins.
Yeah.
They're the Tom Bradys, they're the Michael Jordans, they're the Babe Ruths of the world. I ain't one of them. I actually think that's my appeal to the people that do like me. Is that, oh, this guy's like either me or worse than me.
I'll do fine.
I like him because I relate to the fact that it just kind of never works out when it's on the line. And that makes me relatable to because most people don't have ice water running through their veins. But this is what I compare it to sports. Like, every time you see in the Super Bowl, young quarterback plays in their first Super Bowl, and maybe the first quarter, maybe the entire first half, they stink. They're just off. None of their throws are connecting. They can't make the reads. They're rushing in the pocket. But the game is 4 quarters. They have an hour of playing time to eventually get comfortable and start playing well. The only problem is, like Mike was saying, it's a short set. My audition set's 5 minutes. So if 30 seconds of it is a mental stroke, like that's, I don't know what the percentage is of that, but it's too much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to overcome and then leave with and boy, did it not work out. That's why I need a line. I need hey, I'm Jeff Foxworthy.
Is that when you decided you need a line?
No, it was actually, no. You know what I did? I had a second set after that at a bar show in Brooklyn, and I had a great set. I hate saying that I crushed, but I went really, really well.
Sure.
And it was all with new material. I told the story about the yoga teacher with the giant nutsack, crushed. I told a bunch of other stories, like newer jokes. And I'm like, I should have just done that over there.
Yeah.
But the moment was too big. And if I do well when I feel comfortable. Like if I was a musician, I'd be on stage barefoot on a rug. Like I'd be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, with an avocado farm back home. I'm talking about you, Jason Mraz. Like that's who I would be. I would have to need a comfortable setting. I'd be like, what's that houseplant doing here? I don't like the energy of that ficus. Get it out. I need a comfortable setting for me to be entertaining. But I do. Like if I feel that I got to win a crowd over, I feel like I used to have that. I don't got it anymore.
Todd Glass, I don't know if he still does this, but he used to travel with curtains and candles.
Really?
And this is 10, 15 years ago. I saw him doing this a couple times where he would put candles in the green room, new curtains up on the stage, so that it was like his kind of like vibe and his feel, and that's what he would do. And I was always like, at first I was like, this is weird, but I was like, as I get older, I'm like, oh, this guy got it. He nailed it real quick.
He figured it out.
He figured out how to be comfortable on stage, yeah.
I mean, I've read enough musicians' books to know that like people once again I hate saying comedy is the arts, but we have nothing else to call it, so it is. And I remember Rick Rubin, the Chili Peppers singer, Anthony Kiedis. He was uncomfortable not singing in the skibbity doo-bop, red shoes, skylights, and whatever is rapping. That wasn't it. Whatever it was, that wasn't it. You know how he sings. It's just a bunch of gibberish. But when they were trying to record Under the Bridge, which was not that, and it was something more of a deeper song, he couldn't record it with anybody in the studio. He couldn't sing in front of people in the room.
I feel that.
Yeah, so in Shangri-La, or whatever the original house that they recorded in, Rick Rubin set up a recording studio in like the top bedroom, and he recorded it by himself. Everyone else was in the bottom of the house. So he had the entire floor and the bedroom to himself, and he made it super comfortable, and that's how we got, Under the Bridge, and whatever the other songs are on Blood, Sex, Magic, Kill. Whatever
Hot
that
dog flavored water.
Hot dog. It's Limp Bizkit. But yeah, that's me. I have to have it feel comfortable. It's amazing how unnervous I am to go do one of my shows in front of my people. Like sometimes I walk on stage and I'm like, I should be a little more nervous than this. I might have a bad show for being this comfortable.
Yeah.
Like my heart rate.
Sometimes the jitters helps.
Yes.
Yeah, it grounds you a little bit. Yeah.
There's like this it's like coffee. You know, that second cup really gets you there, but if you have one more, you're going to have a panic attack. It's that with nervousness.
Yeah, exactly.
And if like sometimes when I'm at a comedy club and my nervousness is at the right level, I'm going to do well. But if it goes over the level, I can't see. I start seeing dots.
Yeah,
and I can't talk.
Yeah.
And it all goes south. I do well when you come. When you come to watch the shows,
Right.
like for some reason I don't want to bomb in front of you. Like I still feel this like I have to impress her kind of thing. Like I feel like if you see me bomb, you're just going to be like, I'm going to Uber back. You take the subway.
Yeah, let's just call it quits.
Let's just call it. Wow, you took it to another level.
She's like, you are one bomb away from a divorce.
But for some and I know you wouldn't do that. Please say out loud you wouldn't do that.
Just so it's on the record. Into the mic, please.
Mark, timestamp it.
Love you.
Like crossing your fingers.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have this need to impress, and so if like you come, or like even like friends, or if my mom's there, you know, like important people to me personally, then I can somehow override it and do well. Then it puts like the right level of nervousness to it. It's weird. So anyway, that was. Have you auditioned at the Cellar?
I've had a couple opportunities, but I've. This is terrible for me to say out loud, which I never have. But I don't want to be rejected.
Yeah.
I think I've only recently decided this, so I haven't taken any the opportunities that have presented itself.
Right.
You know, like I don't know. And now I'm freaked out talking about it. Goodbye.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. No, I feel like I do that a lot. I don't ask for anything.
Right.
Like I don't like to ask for help or for, which is a bad thing, but I haven't yet.
I didn't ask for this.
Right.
It was Tom Papa recommended me because I did a show, and he goes, "That was great." I did his. He has a monthly show at the Comedy Cellar's Village Underground, and I did that, and that went really well.
Yeah.
And we were texting. He's so kind, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for doing it." And I just wrote, "Thanks, man. That was my first time there." And he's like, "You're not passed at the Cellar?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Wait a second." And then he like connected with me with ST,
that's great.
and we set it up. So that's why I feel even worse. I let Tom Papa down. I let another comedy legend down. And I haven't texted him since. You know, I said thank you a million times before the showcase. And then Ian kept up with me. He's like, "How'd it go?" And I wrote back, "I don't know. I was a little nervous."
New phone. Who does?
Oh, and I feel so bad, but I'm just embarrassed. Like, he would never watch this, but I'm just embarrassed. That's why I haven't said thank you for a 50th time. But yeah, I don't know if this quote didn't help me, but it might help you.
Let's go.
John Jones.
Here's the quote. You're 40, Mike. Grow up. All right, fair enough. Make a few phone calls.
Do you ever feel like you were more confident at 20?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
like, if I would have gotten that Cellar audition at 20, I think I would have got it with no material.
Yeah.
Just going up with dumb confidence.
Just with balls and a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, just with balls and the lack of failure to remind me. Like, because every time I get these big opportunities now, my brain just goes, "Hey, remember all these times it didn't work out?"
But plus, if I never audition, I can never be told no.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's.
But this is what John Jones said. John Jones, UFC fighter. And he was talking about having to fight on the possibility of fighting Francis Ngannou, who's this big monster of a guy. And he's like, he's like, fighting that guy, the idea of that scares me. And he's like, the reason it scares me is, well, because I could get knocked out in front of people. And he's like, the way I get comfortable is I think of the worst possible outcome. And then I think about it so much that it's fine with me.
Oh.
So he's like, I think, all right, let's say this guy knocks me out in the first round. I start twitching. My family's crying. I'm embarrassed. They do replays of it forever and ever. Get comfortable with that fact and be okay with it. Now you're ready to go fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. And I thought about that. What happens if you go up there and you weren't done peeing and slowly the spot just gets bigger and bigger? Because I'm at that age, buddy, where like I got to do the thing and the and then I'm like, are you sure? And then I put it back and then it's like, psych. And then now I got, that's why I wear black, fellas. So I was trying to get comfortable with that, but it didn't help me. I was still uncomfortable. But it might help you.
Maybe. Yeah.
Or someone watching or
I
listening.
feel like I would probably just manifest that.
Manifest the urine?
No. Like, you know how he said he thinks about it a lot just to get comfortable with that idea. I feel like I would just bring that to fruition.
Right.
But that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility. I would wonder what a sports psychologist would say. Because remember, we watched the Simone Biles thing? I don't know if you watched. I don't know if we talked about it on here, but Netflix, they did a thing on Simone Biles because she crushed it in this Olympics, but the other Olympics, she had a mental block where she would lose herself in the middle of her flipping. and they called it the Twisties, which just goes to show you everything in gymnastics has a cutesy name. It's a very serious mental block where doing what they do, you can be paralyzed or worse. You could die probably. And they're like, I got a case of the Twisties. You know?
My spine went breakies.
That's dark.
That was dark. But that's what they call it in the gymnastics world. They call it the Twisties, and it's just a mental block where for some reason you lose control of your body. So she runs towards the pommel horse or whatever, hits the spring, and she loses herself, and then she lands, and she's like, I don't know what the hell happened. And it took her a long time to break that, because then it became a habit. And then now it's like a reoccurring habit, and I think she had to see therapists, and it took her, I forget how long. I'm going to say, I'm going to lie to you and say it took her 2 years to get over it. Maybe it was less, maybe it was a little more, but it was like a real mental block, and I forget why I got started on this. But yeah, like when you're 20, you have that dumb confidence, and then life happens. You get kicked in the schnutz enough that you start remembering it, and then now you start to develop a pattern. And then once that pattern is set, now you're like, oh, every time I'm in this situation, I'm going to feel like this, and it's going to be bad and uncomfortable for me.
It's like me with driving on bridges.
Yeah.
I used to be so confident driving just anywhere. And now, for some reason, when I drive on a bridge, I get a full-blown panic attack.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
And you remember the first time it happened. Yeah. It was in Miami. I remember you telling me the story.
Yeah, it was like a sky thing.
Big one.
Yeah.
Big dumb bridge. And then it happened, and ever since then, it's now reoccurring because you remember how scary that first time you got scared was.
And apparently it's a thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but like fear of bridges is a thing. They have people on like the big bridges that you get out of your car, you go into the passenger side, and then somebody comes in, drives you over the bridge, and then you go back to driving.
Jephrophobia.
Whoa.
There's a real disorder. Yeah.
That sounds like the first part of that word sounds like someone who's afraid of bridges would yell that while they're in the middle of the highest part. Jeff, I gotta pull over.
It sounds like they're afraid of Jeff Bridges. Jephrophobia is like, I really can't watch any of his films while on a bridge.
I love, not to go on a complete sidebar, I love Jeff Bridges, one of my favorite actors, but the older he gets, the more I got to turn on the subtitles. I have no clue what that guy's saying.
Oh, yeah, Danny Glover.
Just warble, and I'm like, yeah?
Danny Glover's got like wooden teeth. That's what it sounds like. Oh, yeah, well, I'm not the one you shot in the face with the first. Cool, I guess he's guilty?
Guilty on all charges. But no, it's a mental blocks they're a real thing. Whether it's bridges, whether it's me with high anxiety sets in which I'm uncomfortable. I remember, what made me really comfortable for my New York Comedy Club audition is that my friend Steven Rogers came to do it with me.
Oh, cool.
He just came to hang. And just to have him there to chat with really calmed me down. Because that one was a bad show. We were set up for failure. And the only reason I passed is because I was with him and I was just talking about how bad this room is and how bad this show is and all these little jokes. And he goes, dude, that's really funny. You should consider saying that up there. And then I did. And those were the only laughs I got. I did those in the beginning. And so I was off to a great start. Then I did my material, and it definitely tampered down. But it was enough.
Yeah.
I did enough to, I guess the bookers were like, well, if we ever book him and it's a bad show, at least he'll get some laugh trashing the situation.
You're getting all the Tuesday 3 p.m. shows? What the hell's going on with this schedule?
Yeah. So it just having like a support system, I think.
All right, I'll come with you to your shows.
Yeah, this was my way of going next Cellar audition. I don't know how you could come. There's no room in that damn club. Like, there's no room. The showroom's sold out, so you'd have to stand next to me. I think you'd have to sit on Estee's lap while she's watching my set. I think that's the only place to even view the show. But yeah, I got to bring you. You're my good luck charm, I guess. Yeah, otherwise I'll fail miserably. Which is so sad, because I used to have confidence. I used to have dumb 20s confidence, and here's the plus minus to it. Obviously, the negative is that I get in my own way mentally. Positive is that my comedy has been able to be a little more introspective, and I've been able to find material with my faults, and those jokes have been the ones that have connected with people the most. So it's a plus minus. Like, I definitely didn't have that material when I had dumb confidence because I was just walking through life like, I figured this out, you guys are dumb. And now I'm like, I don't know anything. And the more I don't know anything, like, the better everything goes.
Yeah.
But it's terrifying. It makes everything scary.
Yeah. You have to be smart to sound like you're smarter than the audience, you know? And that's not calling you dumb.
Right.
It's calling, well, I guess it kind of was, but that's not what I meant. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. Honestly, I wouldn't be offended. Now when someone has like some feedback, like sometimes I'll read comments even though you're not supposed to, and it'll be like, someone was trying to say something nice after coming to see my show this weekend or the weekend before, but they said something in the ways of like, oh, he always does different stuff. I like that he does different stuff on stage, and it doesn't even sound like material. And I'm like, it is. Like, that, I thought of that, and then I worked it over in my head, and then it spilled out of my face. Like, so they made it sound like I'm funny accidentally.
But I think that's actually a high compliment, right?
I think that's what they meant.
Yeah.
But the way they I didn't say it right, but the way they worded it definitely didn't read as a compliment, but I knew they meant it as one.
I used to think that when people would say, like, I saw you, I could do that.
Yes.
I used to get really upset about that, but now I'm like, oh, I made it look easy.
Yes.
And that's where I'm like, oh, that's actually a really great compliment.
That's when that's why when I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional wrestler because I was watching Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was, you've heard me talk about him way too much.
And then you saw him boot Hulk Hogan and turn on him.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't do that.
I can't do it. But no, when I was a kid, I watched Shawn Michaels, and he was so good, he would, like, float around the ring. He was, like, effortless. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll just do it like that guy. Not taking into account all the other wrestlers that don't wrestle with that ease, and not going, well, if it was that easy, why wouldn't those other guys just do it? It's because you can. It's because he's like magically gifted and can just float around and do all these things. It's like watching Michael Jordan play and going like, oh, I can just do that. And you're like, well, why wouldn't the other players all do that?
Yeah, I remember I had a boss. I was doing marketing for this company, and she was like, I could have been a marketer, but I chose not to. I'm like,
that's a cop-out.
Way to shit on what I do.
Yes. That's a total for me.
Yeah.
She's protecting her feelings because she feels weird about how good you are. That's how many comedy club owners do you commandeer my time and they want to tell me, I could have got into stand-up. I did it for a little while, and I force hosted your show with no question to you. And but now I'm going to sit here and tell you how my other business ventures were amazing. I'm a multi-millionaire. That's why the comedy club is a Unabomber shack out in the woods. There's no money that went into that. I had to deal with that.
And I'll be paying you nothing. I'm going to pay you so little. It's embarrassing.
I don't mind taking a dump on all the shows I did this weekend because I don't care if I ever go back to any of these clubs. Even though the clubs were great, the crowds were amazing, but the last one, the venue in Columbia, was great because it was just a Live Nation venue. So like everyone's an employee, everyone's kind to you.
Yeah.
Whatever, Live Nation, Ticketmaster, that's a whole other.
Sure.
Good Lord, I'm trying to get in with these people, but. They were actually fine because at least it was run professionally. The other two places are run by these like comedy club owners that 2 nights in a row, they just commandeered my night. Specifically the first night. This guy, I don't know if you've ever had this happen, but they're like, come over. I own the bar next door. We'll go have drinks. And I was excited because my buddy that was featuring for me, I hadn't hung out with him in a while. And I really just wanted to have a beer with him and catch up. But I was like, that's fine. We'll all kind of do it together. And my other buddy drove in from Tulsa, so I was like, oh, maybe the 3 of us can have a beer and catch up. This would be awesome. But Mr. Big Swingin' Dong in the city of Arkansas, he just commandeers the conversation and tells us how much money he has and how successful he is. And I'm like, what is it about these comedy club owners, not all of them, some of them, that feel like they're entitled to my time? Like they bought me for the evening.
Hilarious.
And they're like, I gave you your check. Now you have to sit and listen to me talk about how great I am. And I talk at you. And you're like, no one wants to hear this. By the way, I've met some rich people. No one that's actually had $1 million ever told me they were a millionaire.
No.
No one does that. This guy, multiple occasions. Meanwhile, he forgot to get my opener a hotel, and they were all sold out because Walmart's headquartered there, so everyone's over there pitching pens or whatever they pitch over there. And so I got a hotel room, and my poor opener is legitimately in an A-frame cabin in the woods of Arkansas without internet.
Sure.
Walking distance to nothing. Walking distance to the place he'll be murdered is where he's out there. And he's over here telling us, he's like, he told me this, he goes, I funded the payroll for an agency for 2 months during the pandemic. And it was like the 9th thing he said to me. So I just said, why? Why would you do that?
What is your problem?
Yeah, and then he goes, oh, because we're in this together. And then I had to bite my tongue, and I go, why is he staying in a Unabomber shack in the woods when you got millions of dollars apparently, flying airplanes, whoop-de-doo, and we're over here. He was doing food running. He was hosting the show.
And running food.
And you're over here telling me you're Daddy Warbucks.
That's so good.
Shoot me in the head immediately.
Let me see your house.
Yeah.
Show me your house. Show me the inside.
I wish I had the gall. I'd be like, let's open our banking apps. Let's see who's got more. Just to be that guy. And I'm sure he does have more than me. But I just want to see.
Yeah.
I just want to see what he'd do to the question of, you know?
As soon as someone says I got money, like, show me.
Yeah.
Pull it up. Oh, really? Let me see. Oh, you don't have your banking app? Oh, okay. It's got to be encrypted. It's because it's so much money, it doesn't allow on the phone. I'm sure.
I like how it went Trump at the end.
Yeah, it did.
All right. I don't do a good Trump.
Yo, you do. You do it by accident. I wish I had your confidence and your stature, because I also think it helps that you're big. And you go, oh yeah? Show me. Let's see how much money you got there, big shot.
I like to say that I would do that, but it would take a minute for me to do that too.
Right.
But then once I'm in. Like, I don't care anymore.
You know what it would take you? About 6 whiskeys and a 5 a.m. card table in Vegas. And it's a callback.
Well, technically, it would be about 9 to 12 whiskeys.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
About 13 ultras. But yeah, I'm in.
My God.
I see one person being wronged. Enough of you. Oh, me too? Okay.
Oh, it was beautiful. That was one of my favorite trip to Vegas.
That was great.
So yeah, but it wasn't all. I feel like I'm over here complaining this entire time.
It's been a very complaining episode.
I didn't mean it to. It's because we did this so early.
Right.
And I woke up, and there were so many people on the train. And yesterday, everybody bothered me. Mm-hmm. Everyone was in my way yesterday. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this happen.
Zoltan, tell us about it.
I'm good. Sorry, I just
roll the credits.
I was going to open it up to group discussion, and then I remembered, wait a second, I'm selfish. And I just remembered 2 more stories, and then we'll get over this. But I went to the gym yesterday, and this guy, as soon as I got out of my house, he walked with me for 2 blocks. You ever have someone just stick with you?
I hate it.
Yeah, and we were pacing each other, and so I would slow down, and then I'd speed up, and and I'm like, man, for 2 blocks. Then he goes into the YMCA with me, ends up on the rowing machine next to me, and I'm like, you gotta die. We gotta end you now.
Am I Peter Pan? Why is a shadow on top of me?
What are you? Do you work for the FBI? What do you want? I paid my taxes.
Yeah.
How great would that be? I'm just like, dude, I paid my taxes. You can leave me alone. All right. You call my accountant if there's an issue. But yeah, and then when I was leaving, I opened the gym to the door. I'm leaving, and I see a guy coming in, so I held it for him. Mm-hmm. But he's this guy on his phone just looking down, and he walked through the door without ever looking up, like I'm an extra in his life.
Yeah.
And just holding, like, and I'm like, we should be allowed to hang that guy. Like in a public square.
Or if you see him walking through and he's about to get and he doesn't, slam the door in his face.
Yeah.
I didn't. What are you talking about?
I wish I had these. I don't think of these things, you know?
I have the opposite sometimes too, where if I see myself too close, especially to a woman, like if I'm walking down the street and I'm like, pace myself too close, I'll intentionally like scrape my feet so that she knows that I'm not trying to be sneaky. So I'll like make noise so that she doesn't think that I'm like trying to creep up on her.
That's kind of,
you know what that's like?
I don't know no one ever told me that, but I was like, just let her know I'm here, shucka, 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 so that she doesn't like look back and then see me too close, and then I'll pace it's just so weird.
It's
sometimes.
like a reverse of what hikers do with bears. You're the bear making the noise so the hiker doesn't get worried.
Shaking trees. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna make it to the train. Or I'll pretend get on my phone and be like, "Hey, babe." There's nobody there. Yeah.
It's actually really kind.
That's actually very nice.
Well, because I've been like tailed by people, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I shouldn't be scared of this
But I'm
because
thinking
of
about
my
it.
size. But I'm also like, man, if I could imagine being the other way, so I'm like, let me just go a little bit above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I'm a lot smaller than you, but
Yeah.
when it's at night, and I remember before we moved here, you and I were staying at a hotel like in Chinatown, and after a set, I came back and I was like, I just happened to be behind this girl, and she was going where I was going. Every turn, I'm like, damn it. And to the point, I could tell she was getting nervous. So I just purposely took a right, and it took me an extra 10 minutes to get back because like I had to loop the block so this girl wouldn't get creeped. Because it was like a dark street. It was just me and
Yeah.
her. And every time she turned around, I was just like, and I'm like, look normal. But I don't look normal in any situation, especially when I'm trying to look normal. And I probably just did one of these, and then I'm just like, I'll take a right. It's fine.
I'll go the long way.
I'll go the long way. I feel bad. But
I don't feel bad when I do the shooka thing because
no, that's good.
the time I'm strangling her, I'm like, you should have known. You know, I gave you a fair chance.
Get off your phone.
No, in order to kill her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to be clear
Yes.
that you knew my
Yes.
intentions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny that even in a hypothetical, you're like, no, murder's better.
Yeah, murder's way
Yeah,
better.
don't do the other thing.
Don't do the other stuff.
Yeah, just kill her. Yeah. What did you say yesterday that really cracked me up? Oh, yeah, I love it when you get sayings wrong. It's like my favorite thing. You had a bunch of sales for Safe Journal, and it was a Sunday, and you're like, I've had boohoo sales today. I said, what? And she goes, boohoo sales. And I'm like, it's boo-coo. We laughed for half an hour.
That's great. Especially when the saying is the opposite. It's the actual opposite of the word. It's not just a fake one. You're crying about the sales? What?
I've had boohoo sales.
You're doing both wrong.
We laughed about that so hard that it became a running joke. Like last night, I'm doing a set, and she texts me. She goes, "We need to get a new Dyson because ours crapped out. Can I buy one?" And I'm like, "Go ahead." And then she texts me back, "It's $500. Thank you. Ha 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 ha. Boohoo dollars." So it came back around. I love it when you get sayings wrong. It's my favorite.
I'm glad I entertained.
That's what we do with each other. I try to entertain. I entertain you by being clumsy and awkward in public, which you get a huge kick out of.
Yeah.
You get a huge kick out of. She'll watch me just like not know where to put my hands. Like today, you got a seat on the subway, and I had to stand. And an old lady coughed on my arm. It was a whole situation, and you could just see my face. Just,
You're seething.
You thought I was seething. I was just sleepy. I actually didn't care that I was standing up. I cared that that lady coughed on my elbow. Could have gone without that. But like you were texting me like, I'm so sorry. There weren't two seats together. And I'm like, I'm not angry. And I remember I could just imagine now from your standpoint reading, I'm not angry, but then looking up at my face, you're like, are you sure?
She looks up at you and she's like, oh, boo-coo. Don't you go cry about it.
To be fair, though, you have a very readable face, and didn't you say you were on the plane and
I got busted.
the flight attendant called you out?
Yeah, I got busted on my flight home from St. Louis. First class, not to brag. Delta Diamond medallion
That's what
now.
you get.
Yep, I'm up to Diamond, which, by the way, it only means that I don't see my family. Like, that's... never be jealous of someone who's the top tier of whatever airline. That just means they never see their loved ones, and they're never at the house they pay for.
More room to cry.
Yeah,
Delta.
Delta. But we're flying back from St. Louis. It's only supposed to be a 2-hour flight going into LaGuardia. And I noticed, like, it's taking longer. I guess we were circling. I didn't realize we were, but we're circling. And the pilot comes on and goes, I don't know what's going on, but LaGuardia is not letting us land. So we got to go to Philly and stay there for a while and get some more gas, and then we'll try again. And everyone was like, ah. And I made a face, too, which I thought was subtle. I thought it was like you ever have a reaction you think is in your heart and then you realize it's right on your face?
Sure.
And so I made a face, and then the flight attendant who was right in front of me comes over, is like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any questions? I saw that you made a face." And I was like, "Huh? No, it's fine. I like Philly." Like like my fantasy world has crumbled down, and now I'm there. I'm like, "I love Philadelphia. Let's get some cheesesteaks for the whole plane." And yeah, I just have such a readable face, and I feel like I don't, but I so do. I so do. Everyone can tell.
Yeah, you always tell me, "I hate that you can see me." And I'm like, everyone can see you.
Which makes me feel worse. That's the new joke I've been working about on anxiety, because like you're the first person that was ever like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What?" And you're like, "You look uncomfortable." And I'm like, "I do?" Okay, I'm like, "Can people see it?" You're like, "Everyone can see." Like, you look so uncomfortable. And I was like, I felt like Sally Fields in Mrs. Doubtfire when he finds out Robin Williams is actually Mrs. Doubtfire. He's like, this whole time. Yeah, like,
The whole time.
I had like that moment. And I don't like being seen, because I always thought I had this private cocoon in my head and my soul that on the outside I looked like a duck on a pond, but underneath the feet are going.
Yeah.
But you don't get to see the feet. That's a line from The Replacements, great football movie. But apparently not. Apparently I've been in a glass house this whole time, and the people in my head are just fornicating. And I'm like, "No one can see, baby. The glass is tinted. Everyone can see."
It's a two-way mirror. Zoltan. You're on the mirror side. I've been told recently that my breath gives me away sometimes when I'm around people that annoy me. Because the first thing I'll say, like, "Hey, what's going on?" And there's that first like breath that Becca has told me is like, "You got to get it together." I'm like, "Oh God, you can tell I hate that person." What's up?
I'm going to look out for that now.
Damn it.
Morning. I'm just gonna start doing it now.
You might as well say, damn it.
You again.
How do you do?
How are you?
Yeah, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Do I ever tell when someone shows up that I don't like? I don't think so. I think I hide that part. I think my people pleaser side overrides that honesty.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
I would hope. I would definitely hope. But yeah, because this is the other thing I had written down, because I said this yesterday, that I really agree. I just had a bunch of emails yesterday, and I don't mind when like my friends reach out, whether they're comedians or personal friends, or when like my representation reaches out, they're asking me about money. That's great. Or important things. That's awesome. But like a lot of people reach out now, and I got like 10 requests yesterday, and it made me think of that quote, "Never hurts to ask." You know, never hurts to ask. I don't think those people have ever been asked. Like that say that, You know, that it's never hurts to ask. I don't know if you've gotten 10 emails asking. I don't know if you've ever been on the receiving end. It's always the people that ask, and no matter what the answer is, they're good with, and they just walk off like serial killers. I'm like, "Oh, it never hurts to ask." And I'm like, have you ever been on the receiving end of that?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's the 10th ask, and you throw your phone, and then you're like, I'm not looking at the phone anymore.
That's why I haven't done any auditions.
That's why you haven't gone to the Cellar.
It took me probably an hour to text you, like, "Hey, is that show still on? Is that a thing?" Because I'm looking. I just like I'm not. He'll just tell me if it's still a thing. I won't bug him about it. Because I was like, because I just don't like that. I just hate being that thing that's like, no.
I never get upset at a text from you, and this is why I feel weird even. No, ever. This is why I feel weird bringing it up, because I know.
Start sending some bad ones. How do I text? Hey.
Because I honestly don't mind my friends and people I'm close to reaching out. It's the people I have no connection to.
Sure.
Like, there's so many comedians that have no qualms about messaging a comic they've never met, don't even have an acquaintance with.
That's tough.
And then they're just like, "Hey, I saw you're in the city. Can I open for you?" Like, never hurts to ask. It kind of does. I mean, not that I'm in charge of anything, but I don't like you now. Like, I don't. Like, why would you? What? Ask the club.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, here's the thing. They're doing the right thing. The people with that mentality are the ones that become successful in life. You're doing the right thing. But I've never felt comfortable doing it. And now, oddly, like the last few months, maybe the last year, I've been on the other side of it, and I definitely don't like receive. I just ignore them all.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm not answering any of this.
Some comics will say yes to everybody, and then it's mayhem.
Yes.
Which is
Because I know I
hilarious.
will do that too.
Yeah.
I'll say yes to everybody, and then now I got to keep track of who's coming. Otherwise, I'm going to have 19 openers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you've only recently stopped
That's true.
responding. You've always been like,
I
yes,
used to
yes,
respond
yes
to-
to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you got to remember, most of my life, no one ever bothered me. No one ever called. Like, only my friends would call, like, hey, you want to get a beer or something? And then now for the last year, 2, I guess, like, people are asking. And I'm like, my inbox is just like a bunch of people I've never met in my life. Or, like, they want to open for me in Toronto. I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah, at some point you got to draw a line.
Yeah, the line has been drawn.
Yeah.
Leave
Right now.
Yeah. There's a Charles Bukowski short story that I read yesterday. I don't know why I did this, just to let you know that I'm very physical today. You know, I was reading a book, not an iPad. I wasn't reading on a Kindle or anything. This was a paperback. I got the cheaper version. Yes, the paperback. And I was reading the short story about this guy. It was about him, clearly, but he said his name was Kevin, and he was a freelance writer. And he woke up with a hangover, and he just has a phone call immediately. Someone's knocking at the door. He reads a letter, and they're all asking him for stuff. And then so he gets tired of that, and then he goes to the horse track just to get away from people bothering him. And he spends a couple hours there, loses $20, comes back home. Immediately, someone's at the door, wants to hang out. They talk at him for an hour. He leaves, another phone call, another letter. And he's like, I just want to write. And he goes to write. On his typewriter, he gets a phone call. Some guy wants to hang out, and he finally says no. He finally goes, no, I don't want to. And then he hangs up, and he goes back to writing. Now he can't write.
Yeah.
So he calls up the lady down the street who he's been canoodling with. He's like, hey, can I come over? And she's like, are you spending the night? He's like, yeah, I'm spending the night. So he comes over. They're going at it, mid-coitus. Someone's yelling for him. It's his drunk landlord. And he answers the door, and he's like, hey, you want to have a beer? And he goes, no. And he closes the door, goes back in bed with the woman, commences, and he remembers he has a thought, and he goes, I am Kevin. I'm a freelance writer, and I have made it. I'm like, that is the most relatable thing I've ever felt, because there's so many times where if I get like 5 phone calls, 2 text messages, and an email, I will quit. You've seen me do it, and I go lay down, and then you come join me. And you're like, what is our lives? And I'm like, I've made it. This is, it's not about having a mansion. It's not about having a private jet and a whatever. It's about being able to say, I'm not doing any of this today.
Yeah.
I'm going to go lay down.
The power of no is
The
great.
power of no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it takes a while to get to the level to say no. Because when I worked a day job, you couldn't do that.
No.
I have to get fired, mid forklift and be like, I'm done. And then just my safety belt's
Wow,
in
this
the
guy's
air.
about to be the manager. He's about to make it.
Yeah. So it's a thing. How are we doing on time?
50 and change?
50 and change?
Yeah,
I got
that's-
one.
that's,
I forgot to. Let's leave I like how we left the full-hearted story for the end.
What's the full-hearted story?
Clark.
Oh, Clark.
We visited San Diego, which was great. You spent more time there than I did, and you just came back so refreshed, so California. I am really trapping you here in the prison that is New York. Your heart, mind, body, and soul belong in San Diego, California, in the sunshine, and the ocean breeze, and the yoga vibes, and the mantos, and even though you
the burritos.
the burritos, just the carefree life. But we went over there and we hung out with my mom, and my mom had a cat, Leppy, and he passed away, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? 2 years.
2020, I thought.
2020.
That's a
Oh,
while
wow.
ago,
Or
yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Passed away. She's had this cat for 10 years. This cat belonged to somebody else, so this cat was probably like 17 or something when it died. But she had him for the last 10 years, and he passed away. And every time we would go to visit, Emma would be like, are you ready for a new cat? And she would always say no. She'd be like, I'm not ready. I want to wait till I retire. I want to spend time with the new cat. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And this time, we went and visited. She goes, are you ready for a new cat? And she goes, yes. And we were like, what? She's like, yes, I was thinking about, and I'm ready. And so I'm like, the next day, I'm like, let's go to the shelter. And my friends Dane and Kelsey, they had just adopted a dog from the Helen Woodward Animal Center out in Rancho Santa Fe, San Diego, which is a very rich neighborhood. That's where like Canelo Alvarez lives, Phillip Rivers. It's the richest of the rich. And I'm like, okay, highly recommended. We go out there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful facility. And we check out the kittens, but it takes forever. Like, they ask you so many questions. They, like, write everything down. They ask you, like, what would you do if the cat isn't using the litter box? What would you do if the cat is peeing on something else? What would you do if you and the cat aren't compatible? Like, all these questions. And my mom almost was like, just give me them cats. Like, she was about to, like, draw the line. We'd been there, like, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Finally get Clark, beautiful little kitten. And we're like, this is the cat we want. And then we have to go through all this other paperwork. And it's the most expensive cat I've ever adopted from a shelter.
It's insane.
Was it like $250?
It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, like usually they're like Jessica I got for $50.
Usually it's 50. Yeah.
Yeah, how much did you get miso for?
50.
50.
Yeah.
This was $250.
That's a lot.
And then they normally give you the box for free. They give you like a cardboard box with holes in it. Extra $14 that they forgot to put on my tab, and they ran back and be like, I forgot to charge you for the cardboard box. And I'm like, just handing my card over. Like, please, go, hurry up. You're ruining this heartwarming moment. By the way, heartwarming moment. I was over there watching my mom, like, interact with the cats, this one Gravy that we originally wanted, but some other family swooped in. They did the thing where her paw went up, and then my mom touched the glass. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I've become so emotional the last couple of years. I've just, like, my estrogen is at an all-time high. And I'm sobbing. And then it comes down to nut cutting time. We finally figure out the paperwork. And once I got the receipts for how much all this is going to cost, I sobered up pretty quick. and then once we're done, they're like, oh, this gentleman in the back's just going to talk to you for a minute, and that'll be it. Oh, we go to talk to this guy. He's a pet insurance salesman that they just swoop in at the end.
Get a cat or a timeshare?
It was
Dude.
insane.
It was like from one scam to the next.
That's crazy.
Dude, Helen Woodward, I don't know if you're alive. I'm assuming you like made your name off of like training the chimps in the Amazon, and then you came back to San Diego and opened this animal shelter, and I think you have passed on and your kids have taken over. Well, let me tell you, your kids are full-on capitalists because they have turned that little animal shelter into a money-printing machine where you had an insurance salesman over there with an iPad trying to scam my mom into, you sign up for 3 months. It's $30 a month.
Yeah.
You never know. This cat's butthole might fall out, and you got to stitch it up. You don't know what that costs. You know what stitches cost? Are you looking up the Helen Woodward Animal Center?
Yeah, she passed away in 1983.
Oh,
See?
wow. You knew it.
I knew it. Helen Woodward, I'm sure you were an amazing woman, but whoever took over stinks.
Yeah.
Whoever took over is the former CEO of Ticketmaster, and they are turning that thing into a damn shill, is what they're turning it into.
I don't know if you heard the insurance salesman, but he was like naming all these obscure things that could happen to your cat in the first few days you take them home. Yeah, they can run into a glass door and the glass can break and they can get it into their paws and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you pay $49.99 every month for pet insurance? It's like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
I wish we had pet insurance because we just had a $5,000 surgery. So that would have been
That one's
much more
good
helpful.
for. Yeah, that one would have been good
Yeah.
for.
But they don't
she's-
insure old dogs. So
They don't insure old dogs?
No, I wish we could have had it.
I thought Obama changed all that. I thought there was no pre-existing conditions and ages. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't think it goes for pups.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Dude, that shows how great we're doing as a country, that's even on the table.
Yeah.
You know, like,
She was the sweetest dog for 2 days of morphine, though. She was so kind. As soon as it wore off, she right back to hating me when she sees me.
Oh. Is this dog still with us?
Yeah.
Oh,
this was
okay.
like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So you guys paid it.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on the Amex.
She's great, but she has
Yeah.
bad vision, so she doesn't. She freaks out when she sees me
Oh, no.
until she smells me, and then she's very happy.
Oh. So she just goes, oh, I hate you.
Well, she'll hear me, and I sound different than Becca, so she'll go right back into it. Yeah.
Wow.
She treats me like I treat people I don't like.
She sighs at you.
Yeah, she does.
So anyway, we got out of there with good old Clark, and now he is safely at home. This adorable little kitten with giant ears. I hope his head grows into his ears. Even if it doesn't, adorable ears, big antennas sticking out of the top. I've been sharing photos on my socials. And my mom's in love with this cat. My mom plans, right now, because the cat's a kitten. I think he was like 10 weeks old. He's on kitten food and all that. But my mom plans on cooking for this cat. Like, she's like, no, I make fresh food for the cat. They're not supposed to eat this kibble. I look it up, rice and what's the other, chicken. She's going to, like, full on be in there chefing up, meal prepping for Clark over there.
Good for her.
I don't think she cooks for my brother. My brother lives at home, and
He eats kibble.
No, he's over there warming up a hungry man dinner. And meanwhile, my mom's going to be in there cooking for old Clark.
That's great.
Yeah. So it was a very heartwarming. It was so sweet. It really showed like what my mom wants. Remember we bought her that necklace, and that went so south. But then we bought her this cat, and it's like through the roof. Yeah. My mom wants love. She wants something to love it back, love her back. Yeah. So that's a nice heartwarming end to a. I'm sorry if I was too complainy on this episode.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
I'm used to it. That was such a sad. I'm used to it.
It's my whole life.
Oh, you make it sound miserable. I do bring a lot of energy into the household. A lot of energy that you don't care for. That's why we're shopping for at least a place with a second bedroom. I just need more space.
You need that second bedroom.
Yeah.
It's
You guys
clutch.
have, yeah.
We kind of do, yeah.
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 It's like a half bedroom. But we just figured out how to put a queen bed in there. So
Do you go in there or does she go in there?
we both split it up sometimes. Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
about a 50-50 where
Yeah.
we're in bed together or not.
Yeah. I just want to watch TV without having to hear you watching TV.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Apparently the stuff I watch on TV is very grating, which to be fair is Metallica. And the other day I put on a Bobcat Goldthwait set from like 1989.
there you go.
And she's like, why do you pick the most annoying things to put on? And I'm like, it's
It was annoying things to hear.
It's Bobcat Goldthwait.
That guy's the best.
Metallica played Master of Puppets in Ecuador. I got to watch this live concert. I guess I watch annoying things. You watch very dun-dun-dun. You're watching the new Dexter. He's still killing people, this
Dexter,
guy.
New Blood.
Dexter, New Blood. Dexter's got a kid,
Great.
and they're mixing in fentanyl.
Great
and
series.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
And it was so popular, they're coming out with a whole bunch more.
I know. That's why I'm.
With Dexter.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting.
He needs a new haircut.
I don't think so.
He looks great.
He does?
Yeah. he's
That guy
great.
looks great.
I would.
Really?
Yeah. Just want to touch his shoulders.
I need new contacts.
Sure.
Mine are dry. I wear them way past
You got to
the
get yours
due-date.
a little gayer. You got rainbow contacts, pal.
Do you have anything that will make male genitalia look like a bouquet of flowers to me?
What's the thing about genitalia? It's got broad shoulders. I wouldn't mind being held.
I'm not saying his body, it's his face. I know he's playing a serial killer. He definitely looks like one.
Yeah.
From here up, I'm like, I don't care for that. And he's got the fold over whoosh hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for his age, it definitely looks like he's on the lam.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, also, he's being selfish. He's ruining that small town. It was a small mountain town that had nothing wrong with it. And this guy shows up, everyone's dead and on fire and fentanyl.
But
and I'm
nothing
like,
was happening for 10 years.
yeah.
Things were fine.
Things were fine.
Things started happening around him.
He's,
Couldn't
man.
help himself.
I remember I was watching him kill a guy, and I turned to, this is how I ruin your shows. I turned to him and I go, this is no way to deal with the problem.
What are we doing?
He's a dad now. You
Yeah.
got to clean up your act. You can't still do blow and then go to t-ball practice. So you got to pick one or the other. So, anyway. But that's the episode for this week. Don't forget to get yourself a Safe Journal. Safejournal.co, TWIZ at checkout. Handwritten note by yours truly. And any parting words for our dear audience, Mike and Emma?
Help me sell more boohoo journals.
Help her sell more boohoo journals. That's a great closing line.
That's
Mike,
great.
anything for the good people?
I do Comb Over Comedy in Long Island City every Friday night.
It's a great
It's a
show.
great time. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a truly great show. I've done it before and super fun. And come see me on the road, zoltancomedy.com. Bye, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.